Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us so quickly. We really do appreciate your cooperation. I'm sure you don't want to listen to me speak for very long, so I will introduce our very special guest. It is my honour to welcome to the stage Simon Harris, the Minister for Further and Higher Education, Research, Innovation and Houses of the Oireachtas, the Government of Ireland. Please make Minister Harris welcome.
Thank you very much. Carda Céad Míle Fáilte, as we say here in Ireland, 100,000 welcomes. Thank you so much for being with us here in Dublin and being with us in this relatively very new and fine venue. It is great to welcome people from overseas and indeed to say hello to Irish colleagues from across the country. Good afternoon, everybody, and we're so pleased that you are here. I understand that this is the first hybrid QS Higher Ed Summit event in Europe since its inception 3 years ago, and we're absolutely delighted that you've chosen to be with us here in Dublin. And of course, I hope you get an opportunity over the next few days to enjoy our wonderful capital city and all that it has to offer. I know your programme over the next 2.5 days will be very engaging, and I hope it does give everyone a chance to come together to discuss the challenges, but also the major opportunities that face third level education. Indeed, it's hard to think of a societal challenge at the moment, a global challenge, a national challenge that we in the third level education sector don't have both an obligation to and an opportunity to assist in resolving. That is both a great sense of burden and responsibility, but it's also an extraordinarily exciting sector to be involved in. So we are so pleased to have you here to discuss further and higher education in Ireland, but also, as I say, that role it can play in confronting the great challenges that our world faces. For those of you from outside of Ireland, I should let you know, we established a new Department of State just 3 years ago, a dedicated department within our government to work on further and higher education, research, innovation and science. And we did that not because we like setting up departments with very long titles. We did that because we genuinely believe our future economic and social well-being is based on investing in our people. We genuinely believe that bringing collaboration between all aspects of the education system at a tertiary level alongside our science and our innovators can provide massive, massive opportunities. And we genuinely believe that human capital is the most important part of capital when we have discussions about capital and investment. So we've been working really hard over the last period of time to try and put a new and energetic focus on some of the major issues that face our higher education system, our further education system, and indeed many which are mirrored in your countries as well, I'm sure. And let me also say this, I believe the opportunities to collaborate and collaborate more at an international level are just unbelievable. There is so much what I still consider to be low-hanging fruit in terms of how we can work together. And there are encouraging signs, there are reasons to be excited if we think of initiatives like the European Universities Initiative, if we think of plans around a European degree, if we think of the Horizon programme. But even beyond that, there are so many areas where, as I say, not only should we collaborate, I believe we are obligated now to work together as close as we possibly can. And that's why I'm so pleased to welcome you here. I'm also very conscious that QS hosts the World University Rankings, and I want to acknowledge that these are amongst the most widely recognised and respected rankings for our universities globally. And these rankings not only provide valuable information to students who are considering where to apply, but they also increase the visibility and the reputation of universities. I think it's fair to say, and I certainly know from visiting ours, that they can motivate higher education institutions to try and become more dynamic, to try and improve your performance. Can we do better this year than we did last year? And that cannot be anything other than a good thing in terms of keeping us all focused on constantly wanting to improve, constantly wanting to strive to do better. And I'm very conscious of the role that government has to play in terms of publicly investing in education to help you achieve some of those realities. I know that rankings will be issued shortly. I know that they're also up there with the kind of third secret of Fatima. And I do know that there'll be good news for many, and I wish you all well. But I do think we also have to, in any honest conversation about how we evaluate our performance, we have to constantly challenge ourselves and each other in terms of what metrics of success look like. Because having acknowledged the importance of the World University Rankings and the benefits that they bring, I also think that there's a phrase that I think is important, which is, all that is measurable is not necessarily valuable, and all that is valuable cannot necessarily be measured. Now, of course, everything you measure is valuable, but there are some things you cannot measure, and we still see value in them. And that is why I say to all of our universities, and I say to all people who work in education, not just in Ireland, but across the globe, we've got to attach an importance to the rankings, whilst also, I think, never neglecting other matters that are also really important to all of us in terms of creating an inclusive society. So I fundamentally believe leadership in areas around accessibility and inclusion are key metrics. And I know that the theme of this year's summit very much ties in with that view, because students at the heart of education, mobility and digital transformation in European higher education tells me that's where your viewpoint is at as well. A university which caters education to meet the needs of a single parent, which recognises that not every student can pack the bags and head off to university for 4 years to get the degree, but needs to be able to access education in a way that works for them in a flexible way. That is something to be valued. A university which makes sure that there are pathways for people with disabilities. So a person with a disability doesn't face a cliff edge having finished their school education. That is something that we value as well. And of course, something that is very hard to tangibly measure, but is so important, is that societal impact. The societal impact that a university can make on a person's life, and indeed on the life of a community and a country. The economic impact of that intervention in and of itself is hugely important. A parent, perhaps from an area, a family that hasn't had access to third level education, all of a sudden being able to access that education can transform their lives, the lives of their children, the lives of their neighbours as well. And this, of course, is the same for people from so many underrepresented groups. So I think we have to keep on posing the question to ourselves and to each other: what do we want a 21st university to look like? Why do we get out of bed in the morning? What motivates us in terms of the public good we wish to do? Why do we contend forcibly that we need to be better funded, not just in Ireland, but in general, that an investment in education is the most important investment you can make? And what then do we want to prioritise in the years ahead to make that vision a reality? And for Ireland, I just want to be really clear that inclusion and access is a key priority, because you are sitting here in seats in Dublin, in the capital city of a country that has amongst the highest participation rate in higher education in Europe and indeed in many parts of the world. But of course, that reality does mask another reality, which is less flattering. While we have seen participation rates increase across all levels of society, the increase hasn't been equal. And there are still some communities in this country, there are still people from certain backgrounds in this country, there are still people within certain demographic groups that are less likely to be able to succeed or access third level education than others. So whilst I proudly stand here in front of you as a Minister for Higher Education in a country that can be proud of the role education has played in our transformation, I also can't be too comfortable or complacent in terms of that reality as well, because there is more work to do to fully harness the potential of our tertiary education system to the benefit of all of our people. I want to assure you that another key focus of ours and a key priority of ours now and in the days, months and years ahead is international relationships. And we get this as a country. We've gotten it from day one. We know the importance of working with other countries. We know the importance of the Irish diaspora and the network. We even got a man in the White House. We know how important it actually is to forge links with the Irish abroad, with the Friends of Ireland, and crucially though, with countries and education systems and universities that share common values and common visions on the worlds that we want to live in. We live in incredibly uncertain times. We live in incredibly dangerous times. We live in times where two very different and polarizing views of the world are at constant friction. And our sector, our university sector, will always stand on the side of liberty, of democracy, of access, of equality, of inclusion. And that's why I think we have such an important role to play at such a challenging time in terms of addressing so many of the difficulties that the world now faces. We are one of the most globalized countries in the world, and we compete on the world stage in international education, in research and innovation. I am proud and grateful to Irish universities for being globally respected institutions with high quality offerings and founded on commitments to excellence. Irish universities are constantly ranked in the top 1% of institutions in the world, and Ireland is a world leader in many research fields spanning natural sciences, social sciences and humanities. Today's international students are tomorrow's leaders, employees, researchers, social champions, climate advocates, entrepreneurs, investors, and friends. The linkages, the person-to-person relationships that can be formed through international education, again, is something very hard to assess. It's very hard to put a price or a value on it, but we know the value of it. It is the value of being able to share the future together, and it's absolutely essential that people who come here to Ireland have a learning and living experience that is excellent. And I'm absolutely committed to working with our friends in Education for Ireland and Enterprise Ireland in making sure that we can foster long-term talent, that we can develop innovative relationships after graduation, and that our continued investment in education is not just seen as our greatest resource, but has absolutely to this date been instrumental in attracting the best talent internationally into our universities, into our research systems, and also from that attracting some of the world's top companies in areas like ICT, pharmaceuticals, life sciences, and financial services. So this makes Ireland not only a great place to live and to study, but also a great place to start an international career in an ever more globalised world. So I have a message for you to convey to prospective international students in your own home countries. Ireland recognises your ambition to have the best possible education, one that sets you on the road to a great career, a secure life. And whether you're looking for a general postgraduate degree, a specialist qualification, we have a solution for you here. We have a product and an offering here that will not only deliver exceptional educational results, but will also set you apart from other candidates on the employment market or in academia. It'll do so by the experience of studying in a country that constantly reinvents itself, is globally connected, is socially and economically progressive, is deeply welcoming, and is steeped in a rich history and culture. But equally important, our national culture of being pioneering, creative, and agile will help you learn the crucial skills of resilience, self-reliance, and self-confidence. Things that used to be described as soft skills, which are now seen as a core part of what employers and others wish to see in a graduate, and I think what we all would wish to see in each other. In turn, Ireland benefits from strengthening our links and our relationships at that individual level, at that institutional level, and at a country level in a myriad of ways. So I want to let you know this afternoon that we're currently finalising our new international education and research strategy. This will set out ambitious but achievable strategic goals from now to the start of the next decade. And I want you to know that it will also differ from its predecessor in a number of significant ways, because it will seek to further link up further and higher education, research and innovation in a cohesive manner. It won't just be siloed in relation to higher education, but we'll look at all aspects of tertiary education. Whereas the focus of the previous strategy was overwhelmingly on attracting inward students, the new strategy will not only seek to continue to grow students coming to study in Ireland, but it will also balance it with an outward focus, in particular through supporting Erasmus Plus student and staff mobility programmes, really important in an area I want Ireland to do better in. The new strategy will be student-centred and will take a whole-of-government approach. In line with our Global Ireland strategy, which aims to see Ireland double the scope and the impact of our global footprint by 2025, we hope to be able to leverage the expanding network of new missions opening abroad to not only strengthen existing international connections in higher education, but also to foster new ones. So I hope to be in a position to publish this new strategy in the next number of weeks. And then we will follow that by a very detailed work programme, which we look forward to engaging with you all on. This year marks a very significant anniversary for our country. It's the 50th anniversary of Ireland's accession to the European Union. The most important decision, I believe, Ireland made since independence. Since 1973, Ireland has been and continues to be a committed member of the European Union. And in the higher education space, through the Erasmus programme, which was established in 1987 by an Irishman, I should point out, Peter Sutherland. And we have been there from day one, I think co with France, I think. Since it launched 36 years ago, some 13 million participants have had the opportunity to learn, to work, to train abroad, contributing to their personal development by enhancing their language skills and by fostering a greater cultural understanding. Every year, more than 600,000 Europeans take advantage of the opportunity offered by Erasmus. And between 2014 and 2020, nearly 25,000 Irish students undertook an Erasmus study visit or a traineeship, a figure that we want to continue to grow. This programme offers so much potential for so many people right across Europe, and I'm pleased that Ireland remains a popular destination, and we look forward to continuing to grow that as well. But as you're here in Dublin today, I want you to know that you're in a country that is ambitious about the future of higher education, of research and innovation. You're in a country which is growing its budget, growing its investment programme. You're in a country which now has a dedicated government department and a dedicated minister at the cabinet table working full-time for further and higher education, research, innovation and science, and working to address that question: how can Ireland be the best placed country when it comes to our education system out to the next decade? And recognising in a fast changing world, the most important resource that this small island on the geographic periphery of Europe has is our people, and wanting to invest in their ingenuity and wanting to invite you to engage with us on that journey, to visit us here, to work with us, to collaborate with us. And please know that you have a very willing partner in Ireland and the Irish government in that regard. I hope you really enjoy your next few days. Thank you very much.